So obviously topic one for us here with the dirty water. Sorry if you're the dog barking in the background. He's a little dirty scoundrel. Is the waiver. The guys were put on waivers today. We had a huge surprise. Let me tell you, our group chat blew up when we saw this. At that point,
freaking out.
Oh, it was awesome. Reilly, Wagner, and Foligno all put on waivers.
Yay.
Reactions. Go first. Go. Yeah, who wants to go? Who wants to talk about it? Let's go player by player. Let's start off with Foligno.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, no, so very happy. Foligno, he didn't really show it except for that last preseason game. But it was just interesting because I feel like they kept him around because they had the respect for the veteran, but then just see him like, oh, no, we're going to send him off. I think that caught a lot of people off guard because you always felt like you kept him around. You were going to honor him being a veteran in the league, his reputation and everything, being the captain back in Columbus. So you weren't going to do him dirty like that. But, Sweeney's like, just pull the rug right out from under him. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the people, and I think I've said it pretty openly before on the podcast. I'm very anti-Nick Foligno. Just looking back at his production with Toronto after he got traded there, it was crap. He got hurt. He signed with the Bruins, has been pretty much immediately miserable.
Which was way too big of a contract. I mean,
it
was bad.
It was exactly like the Matt Bolesky contract, pretty much similar money as well. So I'm all for, I'm all for sending him down at this point. I feel like there are definitely younger players who've made the case that they deserve the playing time more. And I also think that this kind of tips the cap to where the organization is headed. Like they're not keeping that Nick Foligno in the lineup for another year for, similar production that you might get out of AJ Greer, in a good year of Nick Foligno. So I think it's a sign of what's to come, and times are a-changing in Boston. Finally.
About time. That's the big thing. It's the young guy's game now. You got to give him a chance. You can't.
Yeah, it comes down to, right, like, who is Foligno displacing on that roster? And I've been saying it for the whole summer. Who is he displacing on the roster? That was before Studnicka and AJ Greer and Jacob Lauko, a guy who really, like, I think I've been like, I was super high on him, right? And then he got hurt at World Juniors, and I was like, I didn't really see it last year from him. Now a year off that injury, Jacob Lauko looks great too. He's not displacing any of those guys, and he's not going to be there taking minutes away from those guys. And at a certain point, he's a prideful guy who's been in the NHL for a while, and they're probably trying to give him a chance, go play somewhere else. If anyone else wants to, go play somewhere else, or we'll send him down the AHL, and I'm sure the Bruins would do right by him and trade him for peanuts if they can. But they ain't gonna eat his money. They're just gonna let him sit down in the AHL if not. So I just think that the Bruins are for once doing what's best for the product on the ice and not for the egos in the locker room.
Amen.
There's one more thing I want to say on this topic before we jump into the next guys. Obviously, I think we're all in unison with I think Nick Foligno is a great guy. I think we all do. I think he's a great leader. I just don't.
Except he likes candy corn. That kind of.
There is one thing though, right? Like Foligno is an NHL player. He is an NHL player. He should be playing in the NHL, not the AHL. Just probably not on a contending team.
I don't know that I would agree with that.
I think he plays in Ottawa. Not Ottawa.
I think he plays in Arizona.
Like there are teams he can play on.
His NHL years are actually behind him. And if he plays in the NHL right now at his level of talent, it's because it's just an abysmal team. That's it.
Yeah, no, correct. That's what I mean. He's not going to be on a team that's contending, but I think he can play in one of those teams. But, I mean, hey, we could be proven wrong. He could go down to the AHL, light it up, get a chance, and run with it. I just don't think that's going to happen at all. But, one thing. I was listening to 32 Thoughts this week, and Elliot and Jeff had said one thing that really resonated with me. And they were talking about McLaughlin being sent down and how that was kind of surprising. And that the veterans and guys who have been in the NHL know who's supposed to be on the team. They know. Training camp and preseason show those guys who's supposed to be there. And a team like Boston has done it for too long. They've done it for too long where the guys who are supposed to be there aren't. And I think this was the year with the change of the guard where they were like, not doing that anymore. And I think that's where it goes. Now, this is where things get a little bit different. we'll jump into Wagner first. I think Wagner we're kind of all on the same page with.
Yep.
The only thing with me that was weird is, do I think Wagner should be on this Bruins team to start the year? No. He simply got outplayed. Do I think Wagner's going to be a guy who might be called up this season and might play good and stick at a certain point down the stretch? Yeah, I think
it could be a good black ace in the playoffs next year.
Exactly. He's a guy who can play, and I think he's a guy who respects that role and is okay with it. I don't think he's a guy who's ever going to cause a problem with an ego or anything like that. That's just not him. I've listened to enough interviews with him, I think, to get him, the person's just not doing that. But I just don't think he displaces these guys who are there. The only thing I found weird was Montgomery did say Wagner made the team 2 days ago and then kind of backpedaled and said it wasn't finalized in an interview. I think maybe he had misheard the question or something like that. He said Wagner had done more than enough to make the team, which was kind of, I don't know. Did you guys hear that comment?
Yeah. So I did hear that comment, and it definitely leads you to think that he's saying, yes, he's going to be a part of this team. But I also think we have something else to consider here, is that the Bruins have to be cap compliant to start the year. So if these guys clear through waivers and they all get sent down to Providence, then the Bruins will have enough cap space to start the year. And then McAvoy and Marchand will go on LTIR.
And then
and one of them could probably come back up at that point.
But I don't know. I don't know if they do, though. I don't know if they even do.
I mean,
no, the two we've talked about don't.
Yeah, I think that our third and final option.
Foligno was a statement.
Yes and no.
Dude, you don't send – that's a statement to Nick Foligno. That guy's a prideful guy. There's no way he's happy right now. You listened to his post-game interview last night? That was a man who was confident that he was going to roll in and have a better year.
Shit happens.
It does. That's life. Agreed.
And I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think that my last comment on Foligno, I don't think that he's ever really going to make it back out of the AHL at this point. It's going to be another case of James Neal.
I think he might get picked up somewhere where they want his experience in their locker room to help some young guys get along. I really do. I think those teams that could use that.
Maybe in Buffalo.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I mean a team like that. You keep shaking your head then agreeing. I'm yeah. I mean, I don't.
But at this point, why is Buffalo going to do you that favor for free? They'll let them clear waivers and say, hey, if you want to give us, a third-round pick, we'll take them.
We'll see. We'll see what those teams do. I don't know. I actually really don't think he's going to get claimed. Last guy, Mike Reilly. This one was weird.
This one, I think he doesn't make it through waivers.
No, he shouldn't. Mike Reilly played hurt last year, and that's something that he proved was true, I think, in this preseason. And
I think the Bruins have tried to move him before, and they didn't get any buyers for what they were expecting. So I think the whole strategy of these specific three players hitting the waiver wire is that they're hoping at least one of them gets claimed, and then the other two can still get sent down to Providence, and they'll be able to accrue cap space. And I think Mike Reilly is probably not going to make it through the claim status. I mean, if you think about it,
or Ottawa, when you texted that, I already thought the same thing.
Yeah, Ottawa seems just like a picture perfect place. That's where he was traded from when they were quote unquote still, 1 year, 2 years away from, going all in like they obviously did this offseason, but they're still looking for another right shot defenseman. And I'm not a huge analytics guy myself, so don't get me wrong when I say this, but the analytics on Mike Reilly are phenomenal.
Yeah.
It doesn't always appear on the eye test, and sometimes I'm like, what the hell is happening? But his analytics are pretty strong. So I don't know. Maybe this is just the quick and easy fix for the Bruins to drop $3 million in cap space and make their lives a lot easier. But it definitely wasn't the person that I expected them trying to get rid of. That's for sure.
Not at all. Not at all. That's I thought Riley was weird. I thought he earned a spot. I really did. But he doesn't fit. If Grzelcyk is back sooner than expected, he just doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
If they're trying to sign Strawman, he just doesn't fit. I think he lost his job to the fact that Grizzy was getting healthy faster, and they're right now, as we speak, trying to sign Strawman.
And Zaboril's a stud.
Yeah, but it's I guess the outside people didn't know that, but we did. So I looked at it like I had Zaboral penciled into this team 4 months ago.
But I mean, nobody really knew what you were going to see. We all expected.
Yeah, I know. He tore his ACL, so you're right.
He could be the Moritz Seider of this year and have an absolute workhorse of a season and be in the contention for a Calder Trophy. You never know.
You're right. I mean, yeah, I don't think you're wrong at all. I'm just trying to figure out why. I just won my bets and they paid me out wrong, so that's fun. Shout out the RI Sportsbook for being just terrible at all times. Like, I can see what I was told I was paid out, and it just credited wrong to my account. So that's my current stress. But yeah, no, I just don't. I don't know. It was a weird move, but he's really not going to fit. Like, he's not a guy who it's not going to make the Bruins worse not having Mike Reilly. I just thought he earned a spot in this team. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and him getting claimed makes the perfect amount of cap space to sign Strawman to a league minimum.
Yep, it does. It does do that, and I think that's what they're going to do. And from there, I look to like one last thing for the Bruins. Jack Studnicka finally made this team.
Long time coming.
It is his actual legit chance. Like, I don't think Montgomery's given him 2 weeks. Like, he's made the fucking team, and he's going to get to play. He's going to get months of NHL hockey, and he's going to play someone on that third line. I'm telling you he's going to. The way he played last night and the night before against NHL guys, he was in the mix and he made things happen. He drove play, and I think we do have a top 9 center in Jack Studnicka. I really do. We'll find out. Like, we're going to find out this year, but I think Studnicka's a player. I really do. I don't know if I'm overexcited for him, but I think he's a player.
I think what would be phenomenal for him is to slot him at third line center and move Charlie Coyle to the wing and put Frederick or Greer on the opposite wing. Because then you have Charlie Coyle who can take some of the face-offs.
Oh, put Coyle to the wing? Is that what you said?
Yeah, put Coyle to the wing and let Studnicka actually play the center position, but still have the backup of Charlie Coyle can take some of the more important face-offs when time comes, but let him, get used to playing in that center role. Because the worst thing that can really happen to him is you stick him on the third line and he's a wing, but you really want him to be a center a year to 2 years from now. It just doesn't make any sense. And with the injuries right now, I feel like that's a very good possibility that he could move up into that third line in some capacity. I just hope to God it's in the middle.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. Like, I think that's the biggest thing is he showed us he's a center. Forcing him to play wing, it's not his position. It's not him. He's a workhorse center that likes to be able to cruise and get around.
Yep.
And
I think that's one of the bad things that's happened to Trent Frederick in the NHL.
He's a center. Trent Frederick's also a center. He's a little bit more rugged, so I think that he can handle the wing a little better. But for the first time in a long time, we have 3 younger players under the age of 25 who are getting NHL opportunities on a Bruins team, all 3 with upside.
Mm-hmm.
Greer, Lauko, and Studnicka all have upside to be 10-plus goal scorers in the NHL. All 3 of them. Would you agree with that, both of you?
Yeah, and then you have McLaughlin too.
We have more guys. We have another 3 guys.
Beecher,
and McLaughlin, who I think are all 10-plus goal scorers. And that's disrespectful. Disrespectful to Lysell saying it like that. And then we have Jack Ashon, who I think is a 10-plus goal scorer in the NHL, which might be crazy. But I do think he's an offensive dynamo type defenseman. Here's my question. This is my last question I wrote down on my little paper. I didn't tell you guys.
Ooh, I like the spicy ones.
How do you look at the Bruins under 25 prospect pool now?
A lot better than what we all thought.
How about Georgi Merkelev?
Yeah, I think our expectations were too low.
How about Matt Portreas?
Oh, he's lighting it up right now for the Gulf Storm.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
How about a guy we didn't get to watch? We didn't get to watch, Kev. A guy that you're pretty high on, Mason Lowry.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what he does.
How about the Bruins prospect pool might not suck? How about the P Bruins might be one of the best teams in the AHL? I'm just saying.
It's possible.
I don't know that we
a lot
can
of P Bruins games this year.
I will if you want to. If you want to go to P Bruins, it'll be like $10. Yeah, I'll go to games whenever you want.
I don't know. I think
I'm not going alone, but I mean, like,
I think with the Bruins prospect pool, our expectations were so low.
They were.
Now that you're seeing some of the progress that some of these players have made,
yeah,
it's just a happy accident at this point. I guess
it shows you that the Bruins last year put new people in place in a lot of development roles. And as head coach of the P Bruins, what's his name? Ryan. I don't want to disrespect Ryan Moe. P Bruins head coach. I'll figure it out. But it shows that like the Bruins have made some correct moves.
Right, bringing Adam McQuaid in for defense.
Ryan Moganel. He's done a good job. Like I'm excited. I'm excited for this year for Boston. I think all three of us are. And I'm gonna have to watch the first game of the season while sitting in a Zoom meeting for a USA hockey class that I'm being forced to take. So I can't.
I have one question.
Okay.
Before going in with the opening game on Wednesday, what is the biggest weakness right now on this roster?
They have no weakness. Left wing is the biggest weakness on the roster currently.
All right.
Proven NHL talent in their bottom six.
Man, oh God. Well, now
they're putting a lot of question marks in there with.
Well, you have Smith and Coyle. I guess is Smith starting on the first line? We don't even know. We don't know what the lines look like. Watch, we're gonna get up tomorrow and they're gonna be practicing with Lauko up on the first line or something wild. Because I mean, Monty was sticking hard. He was hitting us hard with Foligno was gonna play in the first line for the last week and a half for him to cut the guy.
Yep.
Is Monty a wild man? Is he watching too many Billy B interviews? Maybe
they're trying to push all these contracts out because there's some big trade about to go down or something.
Connor loves trades. He's like, you
never know. Inject it into my veins.
Jacob Chikrin.
No, Noah Hannafin. Jesus Christ.
You know what?
Connor's big on Hannafin, guys.
Talking about a bunch of stuff. Let's get into some other things around the East. The Bruins, I think one word that we can all say is excited.
Yes.
In more ways than one.